Hi, it's Jin. This is my dachshund Hyo. So just putting it out there, I'm not a professional dog trainer or anything like that. This is my one and only dog, and I've only ever had experience training this one dog. And I'm not even sure if the title is accurate because I don't know if this is a purebred dachshund. Somebody tell me, is this a purebred dachshund? So this is a demonstration of what my dog can do. This is just, I think, 25 or 26 tricks out of like 40 tricks that he can do. Give you a little bit of a background. I got here when he was a little over 3 months old. He's now 4. He does not come from a family lineage of champions or anything crazy like that. He had no birth certificate. As a puppy, he was extremely high energy and extremely destructive. And so I know all of this was the result of training and not genetics. And if anything, anybody who has a dachshund knows that genetically they are bred to be a menace. They do not take instructions well, they don't listen, they're extremely stubborn, and they are just notoriously very, very difficult to train. And so that is why it's even more important to train them so they don't live out their full potential of just being little demon dogs. So I'm sharing the 3 most important things or rules that I followed to train this former demon into what he is today. It's slightly angelic, slightly. So let's get started. So number 1, the art of bargaining. So your dog is not stupid and they know how to make decisions, but you have to let them. The only trick that I think is the most important to teach your dog, and if they can master this, they can master anything else, is leave it. And this is important for the most obvious reason. If they have something in their mouth and it could kill them, you want them to be able to leave it on command. The second being impulse control. What you want to teach your dog is the ability to listen, to process, and then to actually follow through. If they can listen to you in the presence of temptation, they can most definitely listen to you in the absence of temptation. Before sit, before stay, number 1 thing to teach your dog is to leave it. I'm going to show you how well Hyo can leave it and explain to you how I do it. Can you come here? Leave it. Leave it, okay? Leave it. Leave it. Okay, good boy. Okay, so here's how I did it. Okay, bargaining. So when you first teach your dog this trick, it's very likely that it's kind of a 50-50 crapshoot. They might attempt to go for it. If it succeeds, they're just gonna think, well, why should I listen to you? I can just go for it, and like, what can you do about it? Why would I leave it when it's in front of me? What you want to do is make them leave the lower value treat for the higher value treat. What I would used to do is I would make him leave, a regular treat for an extremely high value treat like bacon or sausage. And so he knows that by giving up the lower value treat, he is in return getting the high value treat. And so that kind of forces him to think and like make that decision, right? He's basically doing a cost benefit analysis in his head. If I just leave this thing for 2 seconds, I might get a bacon or a sausage in return. That's a lot more worth it to me than this specific treat. This isn't like a who's alpha kind of training. It really is just understanding and respecting that animals can make decisions and will always make the best decisions for themselves. So this right here, this is a pretty plain flavored milk bun treat, and these brown ones, they're all meat flavored, so clearly he prefers these over this. Okay, so here's how I bargain with him. Okay, leave it. Good boy. I take this back. Because if I give this to him, he's just going to think that he could have had it if he wanted to. But by sacrificing this, he got the better tasting treat. Now I can basically ask him to leave this treat for another higher value treat, which is the piece of dried salmon in there. Okay, so I'm doing the same thing again, but this was the higher value treat that he traded the milk bun for. Hyo, leave it. You can see him thinking because he actually likes this better. Good boy. I take this back. So that's how you bargain with your little demon baby. The second thing that really helped is by making training fun. Training the Hyo is not something that is dreadful. Like, he actually looks forward to it. It's kind of like the highlight of his day. It's no different from walks or playtime. He sees training as part of his routine. And so you don't have to overcommit or anything, you know. I try to keep it to maybe 3 to 5 minutes a day or every other day. So look at this, okay? Hyo, you want to do tricks? You want to do tricks? Yeah? So that's how excited he is for doing tricks. Later? So the reason for this is you want them to do tricks as a part of their daily life and not something that they do only in the face of food. Routine aside, you have to make them feel like they're nailing it. You have to make them feel confident and smart for being able to execute it. So what I found really worked for me and Hyo is by mixing the stuff that he already knows with the stuff that he is not that good at all. He's just learned. So right now, his least favorite trick is whisper bark because he just learned it recently and he still can't really control the volume of his bark. So this is what happens when I ask him to do a whisper bark, isolated from all the other tricks that he knows. Hey, Hyo, you want to do some tricks? You want to do some tricks? Okay, Hyo, whisper. Whisper. So you can kind of tell that he's frustrated and just not super into it. And so now I'm gonna mix it up. You ask permission? Yeah, spin. High five. Yeah. Paw. Chin. Hyo, speak. Yeah. Hyo, whisper. No. Whisper. Yeah. Good boy. Saw that the second time around, he was way more excited and way more willing to do the whisper bark because he felt confident from being able to do all the tricks that led up to the whisper bark. The stuff they're really, really good at. Don't just teach them once and forget about it once they've learned it. Use it as like the foundation, the basics for them to feel proud of. Now, the last thing I find most consistent with how other people are with their dogs is that they never keep their promise. So for example, they might ask their dog to do a treat, but they don't have a treat with them. And so the first couple of times the dog might do it, but then later on they catch on that they don't get rewarded for doing that trick. And so sooner or later they're just gonna stop doing it unless you have a treat in hand. And you don't want that because you don't want your dog to only do the things that he's supposed to when you have a treat in hand. You know, he could have something dangerous in his mouth. What, you gotta go run off and get a treat before he'll drop it? It's counterintuitive. What we want to teach is for the dog to understand that he has to do the thing irregardless if you have a treat in hand or not. But to get there, the dog needs to trust you first. If you're not a dog trainer and you know you're a normal person, it's unlikely that you'd have a treat with you 24/7. So it wouldn't make sense for a dog to only do the things that you want them to do if you have a treat in hand. So no treat in sight. How do I get Hyo to listen? Hyo, off. Come here. Spin. Chin. In the hole. Hyo, under. Off. Hyo, peekaboo. Peekaboo. Good boy. I ask him to do something with no treat in sight. He does it, and I reward him later. Even if I don't have a treat with me or anywhere near me, he will watch me walk into the kitchen and get him that treat. You should make sure it's an appropriate window so they can still kind of make that connection. It is important that you try your best to reward them, at least 90% of the time. Essentially what you're doing is that you're building trust in that, hey, 90% of the time I do the thing I'm told to do, I get a treat later. No matter where you are, whether you're outside at the park or at someone else's house and you don't have a treat with you at the time, they will still listen to you where it counts. So this is the first time I've ever done a video like this. This is not a dog training channel or anything like that. And like I said, I'm not a professional dog trainer. Just trying to share my insights. Now, Hyo was an extremely crazy puppy. First week or so of me having him, I legitimately had puppy blues. If you don't know what that is, that's the strong desire to return the dog. I really thought that I might regret this because he was just so freaking insane. He would just ram his head into things. He would stick his nose into things that he shouldn't be sticking his nose in. And he would put anything and everything in his mouth. It was extremely difficult for me to have him controlled. And that's why I started doing a lot of research on dog training, and that's how I trained him to be this right now. And it's also kept me sane for the last 4 years. So I'm a strong believer that if you have a dog, please train your dog. Your dog would be much happier if it's trained, and you would also be much happier if your dog is trained. I will post things like this from time to time, and I'll see you in the next one. You want to say bye? Say bye. Bye.